does every headline make the Las Vegas housing market sound like it's crashing? You know, it's usually because most of them are just reading one or two numbers and ignoring the rest of the data. And honestly, I think they just like picking on Las Vegas. But I've got the full May sales data right here, and the picture looks nothing like what you've been reading and hearing from the doomsayers on YouTube and the network news sometimes. In fact, we just set a 10-year record on pricing for single-family homes, and I'm going to show you that here in just a second if you stick with me. Now, it's a mixed market. Single-family homes are doing something entirely different than what condos are doing, and I talked about that in another recent video. It's one of the things that's putting a drag on Las Vegas numbers, but overall, this market has been incredibly resilient this spring. I'm Justin Bevins. This is your first look at what happened in May here in Las Vegas, and if you stick with me till the end, I'll show you what you can expect to happen in the month of June as we move into summer. So let's get into it. Now, prices are holding across the board. In fact, if you look at all property types for just the Las Vegas market, prices are holding near record highs, all right? But if you look at just the single family homes, right here, you can see that we hit an all-time record in the month of May for median price. That's the highest we've ever seen, $499,995. Higher than June of last year, higher than this peak back here in May 2022. And North Las Vegas and Henderson are both having great months. This number has never been seen before. This situation is a little bit different for condos and townhomes. Let's take a quick look at that. Las Vegas, if we take out single family, we throw in condos and townhomes, pull out Henderson and North Las Vegas. You can see here that we've been kind of cruising along at a lower pace than we were last year for condos and townhomes. And I talked about that in the previous video where we've seen a downturn in that particular part of the market, but we're still sort of holding our own. If we get out of condos and townhomes here, we look at North Las Vegas and Henderson. North Las Vegas is a strong performer this month, up nearly 3% year over year, which reflects tight supply in the affordable segment. Henderson is essentially flat, which is actually a strong result given where interest rates are and the fact that Henderson is generally a little bit more affluent than the rest of Las Vegas and North Las Vegas. Now, one caveat about this data, it is early in the month of June. Today is the 4th. There's always a little bit of reconciliation at the end of every month as errors can be made in the data during the reporting of the previous month. So we might see things change just a little bit in the next few days, but I looked at all the sales and I don't see any major outliers that are pulling the median one way or another that look like they were mistakes. This data all looks legit. So let's take a look at new listings next here. New listings, sellers are not flooding the market. New listings are down year over year in the Valley. Henderson and North Las Vegas each dropped 18% from a year ago. Henderson and North Las Vegas both. That matters because the inventory wave, the narrative that they were talking about hasn't materialized on the supply side where they said we were going to get flooded with inventory. It just hasn't happened. Fewer new listings, of course, mean less competition for the sellers who do show up and list, and that's part of what's keeping prices a little bit higher right now. Las Vegas, you can see here from the numbers, is just down about 10% from a year ago and down a little bit from last month, maybe about 1% from last month. We're tracking really well on new listings. Not a lot hitting the market and driving down the prices, okay? So let's talk about homes for sale. This is the actual number of homes that are on the market now. We just looked at new listings. Now we're looking at what's actually for sale. Active inventory in Las Vegas is down 9.3%. That's the amount of active homes that are currently on the market. That's from a year ago. And that surprises people who've been reading the headlines because that's not what the headlines have been saying for the last several months. Now keep in mind, it was a little higher just late last year, so it's come down quite a bit. The inventory peaked last September, and it's been declining every single month since. May 2026 is actually down from that peak in September about 16%. So North Las Vegas saw the sharpest contraction, down year over year, 18%. The fear of inventory flooding that market, again, just hasn't materialized. The number of homes that are for sale is quite reasonable. And I'm going to show you something that'll probably shock you, because people have talked about how we've got way too much inventory in Las Vegas right now. Let's pull out Henderson and North Las Vegas, and let's go back for the entire period that this data has been kept. This is 20 years. This is a 20-year look back. And people are saying that we're really high on inventory right now, but take a look at where we were back here in 2011 when we had 19,000 homes for sale in the Las Vegas market. It's just shocking. And we've had a couple of high inventory points since then, August 2019, October 2022, and September 2025. We've seen some high inventory, but we are in, by no means, where we were back when the market tanked at around the time of the Great Recession there in the 2008, 9, 10 time frame. Things have, averaged out here for the last 10, 15 years, kind of in between the 5,000 and 10,000 mark. And considering Vegas is still growing and there's a lot more people moving here, having the amount of inventory that we have right now, 7,500 homes, let's say, that's not a big deal. Pending sales, let's take a look at that next. This is the most important chart in the entire stack. Pending sales, let's get back to just the 10-year view so we're not looking at so much data here. Pending sales are contracts that are being signed right now. That's the leading indicator of where closings are heading next month. And if you look here, Las Vegas is up nearly 16% year over year. Henderson is up 14.5% right here, and North Las Vegas is up 10.7%. So each market is showing stronger buyer demand than a year ago. That's not a soft housing market, as some out there are suggesting. So if you own a home in Las Vegas and you've been on the fence about timing, or if you tried selling in the last couple of years and just gave up, what you just saw in the pending sales shows that there's still a window of opportunity here for you to get your home sold at near record prices and make your move if you want to. And if you reach out to me, I'll pull the specific neighborhood numbers and walk you through what it means for your particular property. There's a link in the description if you want to give it a click. There's no pressure, no pitch, just the data applied to your situation. Closed sales is what we're going to look at next. Las Vegas closings, or the number of homes that sold in May, are essentially flat, down less than 1% from a year ago, and you can see that number right here. The pullback in North Las Vegas, closings down 14%. That's unusual, but it's probably warranted given how strong that market has been the last several months. A little bit of a pullback is probably a timing story. Contracts that were signed in May closed 30 to 45 days later. The pending surge that I just showed you it happening in May should show up as stronger closings in June and July for North Las Vegas. I think that's just a temporary anomaly. And you can see Henderson right here, down 5.6% in closed sales from last year. So that's down a little bit more. But Las Vegas, nearly flat for the number of homes that sold in May this year versus May last year. All right, let's talk about days on market next. And we're going to look at average days on market. In Vegas, it's up 16% to 43 days. You can see that number right here. In North Las Vegas, the average is 34 days. That's like a month to sell a home in North Las Vegas. That's really good. So none of it's really bad. And if you keep in mind that it's the average, meaning well-priced marketable homes are selling sometimes in a week or less, unmarketable homes and homes that don't show very well or get the right kind of marketing sometimes are what are pulling that average up. So it's not all bad. We're at 43 days. We're looking pretty good. And if you look at it historically, if we take a look back through the last 20 some odd years, we're kind of in the middle of the range here, at least for the last 10 years. You got ups and downs of 55 days, lows of 15 days, high of 56 days, low of 28 days. And then last winter, we did have a bit of a high point here, 58 days to sell a home in Las Vegas. But right now we're 43 days. That's not that bad. Let's get into months supply next. Now, all three markets are in seller's territory. Let me back this out to 10 years again. They're either in seller's territory or in balanced market territory. Under 4 months is usually a seller's market. 4 to 6 months is typically balanced, and over 6 is definitely a buyer's market. And you can see here that North Las Vegas is 2.9 months. That's a strong seller's market. Henderson is at 4 months right here. That's borderline seller's market and balanced market. Las Vegas overall is 4.5. That's a balanced market. None of these markets are close to a buyer's market, and all 4 of them have improved from over the winter and even this same month last year. I think May, Las Vegas was last year was at 4.8 months, and this year we're at 4.5 months. So it's an improvement overall from where we were a year ago. Let's get into percentage of list price next. This is how much negotiating is actually happening right now in the market. Sellers in Las Vegas are getting 98.2% of their last list price. Henderson is getting 98.5% of their last list price, and North Las Vegas is getting 99.7% of their list price. So buyers in North Las Vegas are essentially paying full asking price or full list price. That's the tightest negotiating environment in the entire Las Vegas metro. And you can see here, this is kind of interesting, back to when the market was really cranking in 2021 and 2022. That is when we were seeing people getting over 100% of their list price. That's when we were seeing multiple offers and people were throwing money at sellers, buyers were throwing money at sellers just to try and get a home. And we've certainly come way off of that. We dipped down to where we were getting 2 to 3, 4% less than list price, but now we're kind of just 1, 2, 3% less than list price, just 1 to 2% really. So the market is very healthy. On the negotiation side, sellers are still kind of in the driver's seat, I would say. Let's get into price per square foot next. Average price per square foot tells a slightly different story than median price. Now, all 3 markets are down on a price per square foot basis year over year. You can see Las Vegas is down 2.5%. North Las Vegas is down 3.3%. Henderson's down 1.7%. Now, that softening in a price per square foot, while the median prices we talked about earlier are holding, is likely a mix or shift in what's selling. Not necessarily a signal of underlying value loss. Let's talk a little bit about shows to pending next. Showings to pending just tells you how selected buyers are, how many showings it takes before a home goes under contract. And in Las Vegas, that number is 8.5 right now. That's up from 7.5 a year ago. That's up 13.3%. North Las Vegas is at 8.8. So, it's taking approximately 9 showings in North Las Vegas for a home to sell, which is interesting because that's a hot market. Buyers are looking at more homes before they're committing across all 3 of these markets, Henderson, Las Vegas, and North Las Vegas. They're deliberate. They're not desperate. This reinforces the pricing point from days on market. Condition and price have to be right because buyers have options and they are using them. Last thing I'm just going to touch on real quickly is just total dollar volume here. You can see that Las Vegas crossed $1 billion in closed sales volume for May. That's up 4% from a year ago, even with essentially flat transaction counts. So same number of homes selling, but more money moving through the market. That tells you that the higher prices are doing all the work there. Okay, let's take a look at the month of June. I pulled some live numbers this morning so you can see exactly what's closed so far in the first few days of June and what's under contract and expected to close the rest of the month. So if I can pull that up here, we'll take a look at it. The data is live. I pulled it this morning directly from the MLS. Now what you're looking at are the homes that have already closed in the first few days of June, plus everything that's currently under contract and scheduled to close before the end of the month in this little dashboard here. All right, now let me start with single family homes. The median on what's already closed is right in line with where May finished. So what we're saying here, what's closed in the month of May, this 500,000, all right, for the first 4 days of June, that's the median price, 500,000. That's right in line with how May closed just last month, 499,945, okay? So that's actually right at the same milestone we talked about earlier. And days on market on the early closings is actually faster than where we were at this same point last year, which is a good sign. And that's just right here. 19 days is the median days on closing so far in the month of June. Those properties that went under contract in May and closed in June, how many days were they on the market before they went under contract? And that's a little better than we saw in May and, of course, June of last year. So that's good activity. That's a good sign. Things are turning over quickly. All right, getting into the next number, let's look at the pipeline. Now, there are over 1,200 single-family homes under contract right now, scheduled to close this month. That's right here, 1,265 units. And keep in mind, this is just single-family homes that I'm looking at in this part of the chart, and it's just for Las Vegas. This doesn't include Henderson or North Las Vegas. So 1,265 is the number there. That's a healthy number. And if you look at what closed in May, 1,320. So we're probably going to be down a little bit in June compared to May, but we're up from June of last year, which is 1,198. Now keep in mind, not all those are going to close. Some of them are going to fall out of escrow, but that's how we're tracking right now, 1,265 units closing in June. All right, and the median list price on those is slightly below where May closed. We'll have to see where they land, but right now, 487 for the ones that are under contract and expected to close before the end of the month. Now let's take a look at the condos and townhomes, and this is where the story changes. The pipeline list price on condos is right around where May closed. So that's this number here. This is what's in the pipeline, 265,000. And that's consistent with what we saw in May, just last month, 265,000. The condo market, like I said, is flat to soft, and June is not showing any signs of turning that around yet. Now, one important caveat on the condo month-to-date number, we only have 4 days of data and 28 closings. So that's a pretty small sample size anyway. So we'll watch for the full month number when it comes in, when we do the same report next month. Bottom line, single family looks like May's momentum is carrying into June. Condos look like more of the same that we've seen the last couple months. We'll have the full picture when the month comes out, and I'll bring it to you then. So here's where we actually are in the market. Inventory is contracting, not expanding. Buyers are signing contracts at a 16% higher rate than just a year ago. Prices are holding. Every submarket is sitting in seller's market or balanced territory, and even condos and townhomes improved a little bit over last month, even though they're down year over year. North Las Vegas is the tightest market in the entire valley right now. Is this the frenzy of 2021 and 2022? No, but that's not the benchmark. The benchmark is whether the market supports a well-priced, well-prepared seller. And right now, it does. The sellers who are sitting and not selling are mostly the ones who are overpriced. The sellers who are priced correctly and still moving, in a median of about 25 days. So that's the real Las Vegas market, not the version that some of the headlines are selling you. Now, if you're thinking about selling and you want to find out what this means for your home specifically, just book a call with me. The link is in the description. I'll show you exactly where your property sits in all this data. And if you find this kind of straight breakdown is useful to you, subscribe. I put this out every month. No BS, just clarity. I want to thank you for watching. I'm Justin, and I'll see you in the next one.